Hey, what is up guys? Guitar Rock here, welcome back to another Brown Dust video. We're finally back in the game. Holy moly, it's been taking so long. But yes, finally back in the game. So we have a bunch of things to do. Jumpstart quest. I will do a separate video on who I will select, I guess. So just that in case you guys want to know the reasoning behind my selection. But today we're going to talk about the legendary, because we have one day left. Alright, day 7 is where 4-star defender, and then once you have done all, you can select a +9 6 devil. So I'm sure many of you guys are wondering which one will be the best for you, etc. So let's go. We're gonna dive right into it, but first, this video is sponsored by beautifulhello.com. It's a website that has thousands of beautifully designed clothing to choose from. Pepe Frog hoodie, anime girl hoodie, they have it all. And it also has free shipping worldwide, so you're gonna get your clothes no matter where you're from. Alright, make sure to insert the relevant codes to get some discounts off. Check it out, links will be in the description below. Look at all of this. Plenty of rewards to collect. Plenty of things right here as well. I'm gonna do a separate video, hopefully, collecting all of these 1k diamonds, 500,000 gold. Yeah, plenty of awesome compensation rewards for sure. There's hot deals going on right now as well. I'm not sure if now's a good time to spend. Obviously, those with gold, you can still buy them, but those with diamonds, not sure if now is the time though, because you might want to go ham on the specific banner, which is right here, legend. Alright, you might want to be pulling this legend recruit right here. Okay, so I will do that in a separate video as well, of course, so no need to worry about that. So what is happening right now? Apparently now you can choose the 5 stars as well. Alright, so I'll try to cover that in a separate video. I want to focus on the legendaries right now. Alright, so that you guys have a clear picture on who would be the best one that fits your team. But of course, to do that, we gotta go over to book, and then we will look at all the skills right here. Alright, so what you need to know, etc. Okay, so 6 devils, there's only 6 of them, obviously. I will basically cover who you should pick for beginners, and then we will slowly go into like maybe slightly veteran, and then maybe like an experienced or super veteran players, in case you guys still need. I don't think experienced players will need this guide, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Okay, so best pick by far, in my opinion, this is my opinion only, of course I'll give you reasoning as well, it's none other than Refithea right here. Alright, so why is Refithea so good? Couple of reasons. She has decent stats. Alright, nobody cares about stats, right? It's all about the skills right here. Alright, so she has the ability to remove debuff. Alright, so purification. So this thing is not a unique skill, right? But for Refithea it is, because at +12 she gets this range. So for that range, and this combined with the purification, she's able to remove all sorts of debuff on your allies. So that is huge in every single contents of the game. PvP, Guild Wars, PvE, Evil Castle, whatever it is, it's huge. If you are new to the game, completely new, you're a couple of weeks old, couple of months maybe, Refithea is gonna be your best pick. So there's just no competition right there. I know some of you will be saying, oh, Guitar Rock, what about Nartas? What about Nartas? Calm down, alright? We're gonna get there a second. Give me a moment. Alright, so here's the thing. Second skill. This is what makes her so good as well. Alright, 16 turns. Alright, boost attack. There's crit rate boost. There's crit damage boost. The crit rate and crit damage, a lot of supporters have this, but not all of them have it balanced enough. I think the only other balanced offensive buffs that you can probably say is Ceres, but she's a 4-star. But in terms of 5 stars, right, they either lack the range or they lack one of these few things. Alright, for example, Michaela. She's good for sure, but she doesn't give crit rate. She gives high attack, crit damage. Let's talk about Venaka. Same goes for her. Attack and crit damage, no crit rate. Stella, she gives attack and crit rate, no crit damage. So Refithea is there to balance things out. She has everything. She has attack, crit rate, crit damage. Every single thing is right there from her buffs. So ideally she's probably the best. She has the best attack type support right now. Alright, in terms of attack type buffs, if you're not looking for a defensive buff, something like regen and those things, which might not be that useful for her case. Alright, she does have this skill right here, which helps in reduced incoming damage. So this can be pretty cool depending on who you're pairing this with. If you have tanks like Cowley in your team, this might help her a little bit. Alright, 36% reduced incoming damage is nothing to joke about. Alright, so this is like one of the best things you can have for her. Alright, she has one thing going for that. And then of course this is for herself. Alright, so immune to debuff. She has reduction in incoming damage as well to help her stay in the battle longer, make her slightly more tankier. Alright, so that's at plus 12, right? So obviously at plus 13, you're gonna get more stuff. Oh yeah, not to mention she has healing as well, 24% healing. Paired with her reduced incoming damage, that's gonna help her a little bit in terms of defensive buffs. So she's pretty well balanced in terms of offensive buffs and defensive buffs. The only thing that she lacks, perhaps, is healing over time. Alright, so this is just one-time healing, whereas if you want a regen, something like Vianaka's healing is going to last longer. So those will last over the course of a couple of turns, and perhaps edgy boost as well, which she doesn't provide. But overall, offensive buffs, I think she has that pretty much covered. Alright, so yeah, I don't think you can ever go wrong with her. She's just the best supporter to have right now. Alright, the only problem, and it's not really a problem ideally, is that she needs the plus 12. So if you are new to the game, don't pull for any other companions. So which is why, if you notice the pattern of why I recommend people to go for what I do for the 5-star warriors. So some people think it's better to pick Dalvi. No, because you want to spend your resources on pulling for Refithea's companion. You will not have the resources to pull for Dalvi's companion or Michaela's companion. Alright, so which is why I recommend most players to not pick Cecilia as well. Go for Cowley, that's the priority, because she doesn't need companions as well. All of the recommendations that I did previously was built up to the recommendation right here. I'm going to recommend Refithea if you're new to the game, because at plus 12, she's just insanely good. So if you're new to the game, go ahead, pick her, you will not regret it. Go all ham in the recruiting her companions. Make sure that she's plus 12. Alright, so I already have all the preparations for her. If I'm not mistaken, all the soul gears, there, all done. Alright, I'm just waiting for that right moment to recruit her and then equip the soul gear and get her all up. Okay, so if you do not want to pick Refithea and you think that Refithea is not going to fit your team for whatever reason, I do think she's quite flexible and versatile. The next best pick is probably going to be Nartas. Okay, so I don't really like Nartas as much, and I do think that most people overhype Nartas more than he stands, basically. Alright, so why am I saying this? Calm down, calm down. I know a lot of you guys will be, oh, Nartas is #1 in Korea, blah blah blah. I get that a lot. I get that every single day when I sleep at night, and people messaging me all over saying Nartas is the best. No, he's not. Alright, so my reasoning for this is because Nartas is strictly a PvP hero. Alright? Nartas is strictly a PvP hero. Get that straight to your head. Alright, so yes, Nartas is going to rank #1 in Korea or whatever in PvP ranks. Sure. Alright, so why is Nartas so good in PvP? Alright, so the reason is... Alright, we have to claim this first, I think. So Fire 2... Wait a minute. That's not what they promised. I'm pretty sure I wasn't in Sapphire 2, the previous rank. Alright, regardless. Alright, so why is Nartas so good in PvP? Because in PvP, players do this. Alright? So one full lane filled with every single units, and one more lane perhaps the defense lane. So that's why Nartas is very good in PvP. So in PvP, you will see formation like this a lot. Alright, formation like this, you might not see that much in PvP. But in Guild Wars or in Underground Arena, you will see formations like this a lot. people spread out their units. Nobody goes for formation like this in Guild Wars or in Underground Arena or in tournament. Unless you're fighting like a relatively newish player, most of the higher end guild strategies, they don't set up their guild formation like this. And in Underground Arena, most players don't do this kind of formation. Alright, it's quite rare. Formations like this is what you're going to see very often, and this is extremely spread out. So Nartas will not have that much of an impact in those few other areas. Same goes for PvE, right? So I know you don't pick your legendary for PvE, but ideally if you're new, picking Nartas, you're probably going to use him everywhere. So in PvE, you don't really see this kind of formation often in PvE. You just don't see this kind of formation often. And I'm not talking about just those few areas, like every single content of the game outside of PvP, you don't really see formations where Nartas is gonna shine more. Alright, so Nartas is not bad. Alright, I'm not saying that he's bad in those areas. Alright, in PvP, Nartas is gonna shine extremely high, which is why Nartas is my second recommendation. I strongly believe that Nartas is behind Refithea in terms of flexibility and versatility in terms of all the game modes in the game. Alright, Refithea is gonna be she's gonna be much more usable than Nartas in most of the areas. Whereas Nartas is going to be very good in PvP, but maybe he might not shine as much in those few other areas. And of course, Nartas is not without his counters. You know, there's Beliaf. You know, in Guild Wars, you see a Nartas, you just place a Zakan right there. Nartas is going to die to that Zakan. Like, it's so easy to counter, I feel like. And a lot of things that you can do to counter Nartas in something like Underground Arena or Tournament. You see someone place a Nartas, you just place a Cecilia. You can't do those things in PvP because they are predetermined. He can be countered easily if you can set up against him, which is where he's going to fall short a little bit. So that's where I think he's going to fall short. Okay, so if you look at his skills, +3 he gets the bonus range. So ideally at +3, this is where he gets quite a lot of insane things going on. Alright, so 150% times attack. So do keep in mind that he ignores enemies' damage reduction effect caused by defense. Alright, and deals additional damage. So basically that just means that he ignores 100% defense. Alright, so there's nothing else to it. Of course, there's some sort of healing and boost his defense as well. So at +12, at +12 is where you want him to be ideally. So if you look at his skills all the way here, +12 he gets this particular skill. Magician's casting state becomes casting ready. So that means during the first, so he's a magician, right? Nartas needs 2 rounds to charge up his attack. So on round 2, he will be able to unleash his attack. But on round 3 onwards, he will just hit like a normal warrior every single round. He will not have that 2-turn charge delay anymore as a magician. Which is why at +12, he's really strong, you know, and he gets 100% defense as well. So ideally, ignore taunt and everything, it's really good. Oh yeah, one more thing before I forget. Nartas is not really unique like Refithea because there's Alicia. I know they are not really similar and Nartas is going to be better by far, but Alicia at +15, she has the ignore taunt as well, and obviously she won't have that insane range that Nartas has and 100% defense and things like that. But I feel like in most cases that where you need Nartas, Alicia will be able to substitute that, whereas for Refithea it's gonna be harder to replace. That's just my opinion though. Alright, so again, Refithea is number 1. If you're not sure who to pick, just go for Refithea. You will not go wrong with her. Nartas, maybe if you are 5 to 6 months into the game and you don't really need any more supporters, then go for Nartas. Alright, so who's the third that you should pick on the list? I honestly think Angelica is the one that you should pay attention to. Alright, so Angelica number 3. Now why is Angelica number 3? The reason why is because for Nartas and Refithea, they get a lot of potential at +12, whereas Angelica will only unleash her true potential at +15 with this particular range right here. Alright, so this is where it sort of brings her to a whole new level. So let's have a look at Angelica at +12. What does Angelica has? Alright, she's immune to debuff, cool. So she has this curse and enhancement nullifier. So reduces incoming damage and it boosts her defense. Very cool, pretty cool skill. And then she has this particular skill, ignores enemies incoming damage reduction, deals additional damage of max HP times 135% additional damage. That is insanely high, and of course heals herself, and of course buff prohibition. So at plus 12, if you have an Angelica at plus 12, is she worth using? I don't think she's worth using for a couple of reasons. Alright, hear me out, calm down. I know a lot of people love Angelica, you know, Angelica fans are everywhere. If you have Angelica at plus 12, she will need one shield rune to ideally get the defense up to 100%. Unless you don't care about that, then you need her to be plus 13. Then that is where, with one shield rune, it's gonna be doable to get her to 100% defense. But at plus 12, I feel like she's not worth using because Foxy can do what she does in a better fashion. Alright, so why am I saying this? Let's compare range. Angelica is a skip right now. After the rework, she's no longer a front. So Foxy is a skip as well. Foxy at plus 10, I mean you can get her up to plus 9 obviously, but you can get her up to plus 10 easily. Makes more sense because number one, she has more range than Angelica does. Alright, so Angelica only gets bonus range at plus 15. Number two, even if Foxy does not have some sort of 100% defense or something, she does have a counter, right? So whoever that hits her is going to get countered. That might not be huge, but I would call that an even. Angelica can tank, Foxy can, you know, make the opponent suicide into her and trade 1-for-1. I would call that an even match. So whatever the Angelica has is just like debuff immunity and things like that, and I feel like because you can only bring 9 units into the formation, right? So if you're thinking of getting a warrior to replace your current 4-star or whatever, I feel like Foxy is gonna do a much better job compared to Angelica at plus 12, okay? So I'm talking about plus 12. So obviously plus 13 onwards, Angelica is gonna be, she's gonna have that much higher impact. Okay, so that's the whole problem. It's just about investment. I do think Angelica is all about investment, which is why she's the third on my list. I'm not gonna recommend her to any new players for sure. If you're new, please do not go for her. She needs the investment. Alright, you're better off going for Nartas or Refithea. They are going to make much more impact for you in the PvP arena. Alright, so that's for sure. Unless you have plenty of resources and you think you're gonna get very lucky and you're willing to spend a ton on the game to get Angelica's companion, get her up to plus 15, I don't think she's worth going for right now. Sure, you might say, oh, I'm gonna get the companion sooner or later, but it's just of you want your units to make as much impact as they can as soon as they can, right? You don't want to wait like 3 months later only your Angelica will start making impact. By then, what, Glacier is already here, so you don't want that to happen. Ideally you want to aim for right now, which is why all the while I've been recommending people to save, you know, for this 6th level companion. Okay, so the next one is either going to be Alec or Grand Hilder. I would place them equally at the 4th place. I know there are a lot of Alec lovers out there, but the problem with Alec is fixed damage, right? Fixed damage can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. There are a lot of tanky high HP units that Alec is going to have difficulty killing. For example, Cowley. If Cowley has very good runes, no matter how buff the Alec is, I don't think Alec's fixed damage can penetrate through that HP of Cowley's. Alright, so other than that, Alec is pretty good. It's just that he's very squishy. He's gonna die to almost anything. That's his only downside. Of course, plus 12 is where you want him to be. Look at that, you get the bonus range. I don't think he's gonna fit the meta as well as Angelica or Nartas or Refithea. Alright, so the main reason is not because he dies a lot or because he's squishy. It's more of how dominant the other units are. So right now, if you look around in the arena, you're gonna notice Lucius in front a lot. Alright, so whether you like it or not, Lucius is always going to be there in front, the most front lane. Alright, whether it's a top, bottom, middle, but Lucius is always going to be front. And Alec is going to end up hitting Lucius most of the time. And that's going to be a case because Alec hits front. Yes, he has 3 tile range, but that's not going to help much if he's going to get stuck right there. So unless you can pair having Alec with something like a Nia or you know, like a multi-hit unit, I don't think Alec is gonna work well in a lot of formation. He's just gonna be harder to use. Like, if you're new to the game, I wouldn't recommend Alec at all. If you have been playing the game for a while, sure, I'm sure you know how to make Alec work, but for those new players out there, this is not something that you should prioritize, alright? You might get Alec later on as your second or third 6th devil, but not right now as your first one. Okay, so same goes for Grand Healer. So a lot of players say that she is very good at +3. I do agree with that. 50% reflection, definitely very cool. But ideally, if you want Grand Healer, you should get her to +12. Because that is where you get the incoming damage times percentage of instant healing. So +11 do not have that. So +12 onwards, you get that sort of healing. So why am I recommending Grand Hilda like so far back as the 4th 6th devil? So why do I not rank her first? Because currently we have options like Cowley and Cecilia, which is most likely going to fill up the role of what she does. Alright, so Grand Hilda can tank for sure, but Cowley and Cecilia is going to be able to do that as well, with less investment, obviously. Alright, so do keep that in mind. And lastly, Celia, she's not in the selection, you can only obtain her from Fusion. She's still the worst one, I think, even after the rework. Yes, she has insane buffs and stuff. The problem is she lacks damage, alright? None of her skills deals additional damage. So except for this one, but it requires the enemy to die. So she's not going to be useful immediately on round 2. So considering that, as a magician, the next turn that you charge up is round 4, so that's gonna take forever. So yeah. You know how it goes. She's gonna be used in some niche cheese strats of World Boss, Evil Castle for sure. That's just gonna be it. I don't think you should waste the legend coins or legend books on her. You can't select her as a +9. She's not an option right there. So fusing her, you know, skilling her up, I don't think it's worth it. Unless you're a super veteran player, you've been playing the game for the longest time ever. And sure, go for her. Other than that, definitely not recommending her for PvP at all. Alright guys, so that's my recommendations list for all the 6 devils, rework skills. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, give this video a like. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.
We were so young, we were so dumb. We would get drunk and then hook up. We were okay, we were alright. Staying awake till the sunrise. We were in love, couldn't stop us. Like a good drug, never enough. We'd hook up in my car, driving so far. Play your guitar, you'd show me your art.